It was a Monday evening. I'd left work early and walked to Marienplatz to meet a friend. While I waited for her, an older guy approached me. He had a walking stick and a big backpack, and he looked like he'd just come back from a camping trip. As he walked up to me, I expected he'd ask me for directions, and having just moved to Munich, I felt flattered to look enough like a local for that. Instead, he asked me what I did for a living. I found it odd, but as all science enthusiasts, I love talking about my job. So I cheerfully started explaining my research away. He raised his eyebrows, unimpressed. So what? I was mystified. This is not how these conversations usually go for me. I did not hear me. I said I study lava flows to predict where they're going to go and how fast they're going to get there, keeping millions of people worldwide safe. It seemed like a pretty solid bottom line to me, but evidently he disagreed. "You fool, you're going to hell," he sentenced as he stormed away. See, I don't believe in hell personally. In fact, I don't believe in any kind of afterlife. However, that interaction got me thinking. I am a volcanologist, and as such, I do frequently go to hell, or at least to what people believe to be its gates. In Icelandic mythology, the souls of the doomed reach the underworld by traveling through Hekla volcano. To Spanish explorers in the 16th century, Masaya volcano was the mouth of hell, the place from which the devils threw the souls of the condemned. So, for many centuries, religious authorities from all over the world pointed to volcanoes as evidence of the torments that await sinners in hell. We'll get back to this, but for now, let's switch perspective. What so much of the world population associates with hell and fear and pain, I'm instead drawn to. I've always been into volcanoes, ever since I can remember. Now, I have to admit, I'm a pretty fearful person. Heights, spiders, diseases, you name it, I am afraid of it. Volcanoes? Nope. Walking right up to a 1200 degrees lava flow to collect a sample leaves me totally unfazed. Quite simply, the attraction vastly overcomes the fear. Aside from personal fascination, as a scientist, I am convinced that volcanoes are merely a creative force in our world, not a destructive one. Rewind a few billion years, and volcanoes were already at work building our atmosphere, making our planet suitable for life. They then likely powered the first protocells, and nowadays their acidic emissions support entire exotic ecosystems based entirely on sulfur rather than oxygen. On a larger scale, volcanoes emplace the land that we walk on and fertilize the soil that we farm. And looking even further away, when astrobiologists search for life on other planets, they do so mainly on geologically active worlds. This is how essential volcanoes are to life. But coexisting with volcanoes is not always easy. Although on a geologic timescale, volcanoes are indeed an amazing creative force, on a human lifetime scale, they can be pretty destructive. And there are 250 million people living nearby an active volcano worldwide. What can be done? For many of them, that is home. They simply can't consider relocating elsewhere. And for them, for some others, it's not economically feasible to do so. Lava Zone A in Hawaii is the only place where it's reasonably inexpensive to live. As volcanologists, we interpret and study every volcanic signal and try to predict when the next eruption is going to occur. We then work closely with emergency managers to try and create hazard maps and evacuation plans to be ready when that eruption does occur. And the recent eruptions of Kilauea, for example, last summer, has demonstrated that although property loss remains unavoidable, the loss of life nowadays is largely preventable. Back to the cultural interpretation of volcanoes. In 1615, Friar Juan de Torquemada, uncle of the famous Inquisitor, published a theological analysis dismissing the popular view of volcanoes as gates to hell as ridiculous. Souls are incorporeal, and therefore hell has no need for physical gates. the nonsense was over. So, although in a broad evolutionary sense we all come from hell in the form of a volcano, even those among us who believe in hell in a religious sense can rest assured that they're not going back there through one. Thank you.